Hey guys, I was looking for an easier way to do this than holding my phone awkwardly, but couldn't figure out QuickTime Player, so here I go. No need to memorize what I'm saying verbatim, obviously, but just so in case you're confused about any slides, this is kind of what I had in mind. Feel free to add your own interpretation. Yeah, so just use this as a foundation. I'll start at the 30-second mark, so we have a good idea on time. Hi, my name is Mackenzie Olson. You guys introduce yourselves. This is UW Major Prerequisite Planning. Just to give you a table of contents idea where we're going with this, we're going to start with an intro and background. We'll move on to project conception, UI design, software development. We'll do a quick demonstration for you guys and we'll wrap it up with the conclusion. Intro and background. So there are three main types of majors at UW. They're open, meaning anyone can join pending a meeting with an advisor. There's minimum, where you have to have a certain GPA in classes and you might have to apply in a certain quarter, or you might have to have a minimum cumulative GPA. And then there's competitive, which is dependent on your GPA, either holistically or specific classes, co-curriculars, an essay, and even sometimes an audition. The distribution of these three types of majors we just talked about, a majority of them are minimum. The second most popular is competitive, and only 16.7% is open, which puts people in kind of a difficult place when they're applying to a major, knowing that they might not get in. Some disciplines are worse than others. This is kind of a point that hits close to home. This is an article from the Seattle Times published earlier this year. The highest acceptance rate in the tech-related majors at UW is 35%. So it'd be really cool if there was some sort of way people could maybe broaden their horizons by applying to one or two majors, just like how you apply to backup colleges. Apply to backup majors in case your first plan doesn't work out. And this kind of led to our project conception. So this is how you currently have to decide between your majors or like first, second choice backups. We're focusing only on competitive majors from here on out. And a huge component of competitive majors is doing the prerequisite classes and completing them with good grades. And as you can see, this is a lot of information to synthesize, you know. Let's see, can I actually afford to apply to all three of these but without taking too many credits? What overlaps? What quarters can I apply? Because if you miss a quarter, that takes a whole year out where you have to sit around, and only takes applications once a year. And if you don't know about that and you miss your sophomore year application, or your junior year application, it's no longer an option for you. So these are all important pieces of information. And this is what kind of bore our ideas, and this is our solution. It's a web tool for major exploration. We're offering breadth, not depth. This is not supposed to replace one-on-one meetings with your advisors or anything like that. It's just giving you a general idea of different prerequisites if they're possible, if they mesh well. Potential stakeholders we're going to get into in the next slide. This is a stakeholder matrix. Sorry, it's kind of long, but bear with me. The five kind of we named were incoming freshmen, current UW freshmen, our team ourselves, our professor, UW academic advisors, and the UW website itself, because we kind of envisioned this as an add-on feature. We didn't get around to actually working with UW website developers. That was a stretch goal, but they could definitely be a potential future stakeholder because we're using a lot of their data and we're providing a tool that they don't currently offer but could be really, really useful. I met with Dwell and I asked him, Dwell's an informatics advisor, I asked him if he thought this was a good idea. And he said he absolutely agreed. His direct quote was, UW is placing a lot of sticks in front of students, pressuring them to decide their career major without providing any resources to help. And an excellent example of that is they lock you out of registration after so many credits. And if you're bouncing around between pre-med and tech and you don't keep track and you don't get in your first choice major and you're not thinking about finding the least common denominator among prereqs, you're gonna run out of space to keep taking classes. And that's gonna put you in a potentially really costly and stressful situation. So we're hoping to avoid that with our application. Here are our kickoff notes and charter notes. We get there kind of small, so we're gonna bring you the highlights, what we think are kind of most important. We definitely learned along the way, made a few mistakes. Specifically, project charter should be 1 page. Whoops, ours was probably like 3. So we've kind of like learned about the proper documentation along the way, which has been helpful in this class. Here's our communication plan. Slack saved our bacon so many times. We tried to have weekly meetings and status report check-ins every week as well, post-class. You can see the initiation project kickoff meetings are kind of the most important ones to highlight, and the rest were kind of executionary, monitoring, and controlling. Here's our work breakdown schedule. This time it includes a project charter and the creation of work breakdown structure itself. And using those kind of work packages, we were able to create the critical path method, which you can see right here. It adds buffer towards the end. Here's our schedule. This assigns dates. Everything went along pretty well. One thing we could have factored in better is the fact that we all have final projects occurring at the same time towards the end. So maybe even have placing more buffer on that would have been quite helpful. Here's our RACI chart. So now that we have our schedule, these actually should be reversed, but that's okay because I'm presenting it. Here's our RACI chart. So this adds who's accountable for what, and that's going to be used in the schedule as well. Responsible, accountable, consulting, and informing. So you don't have any of those awkward, oh, I thought you were doing this, I thought you were doing this situations. UI design. Like I said earlier, these are kind of like the ideas we want to go off of. These are what we were kind of channeling. This is not an in-depth tool. We wanted to talk about easy comparison, a holistic bird's eye view, simple, and again, that breadth, seeing a lot of different majors and seeing what they have in common. We want this to be a visual tool. Here are a couple of our early balsamic designs. We quickly learned that we would like some design help, and we were able to reach out to a friend of mine, Mara Childs, who goes to the University of Glasgow, and she's studying interaction design, and she's able to give us some helpful feedback, so we really were able to learn from a subject matter expert there. And lastly, we're kind of trying to adopt the UW integration. We're hoping it's not too on the nose, but we didn't want to show a new design paradigm that would cause any confusion. We want to stay similar. Software development. We got to do lots of manual web scraping. That was fun, and put them into flat files that would eventually feed our database, which I'll talk about in a second. But we had to go through all those HTML slides we showed you earlier and put it all in an Excel spreadsheet. From there, we had too many dimensions to leave unnormalized, and that's where we got some help from the wonderful Greg Hay, who drew us this ERD and helped brush off some of our old database knowledge, and we were able to basically build this in an effective manner and not just executing it, kind of blindly. For the front end of things, we adopted RShiny because it was quick. This was a 6-week project given when we actually started it. So building it out in the HTML website on its own was going to be kind of difficult. So we decided to use RShiny, which has a lot of cool packages that did some of the hard lifting for us. Now that we've talked a little bit about UI and design, it's kind of important to go back to risk. So like a lot of risks come out when we're like making decisions like, should we use RShiny or build the website ourselves? And the risk register was an awesome way of just being able to categorize it. And this is just an example of 2. I wanted the table to be readable. And how do we decide between these high, medium, and lows? SWOT analysis was a nice tool we were taught that kind of helped you categorize this as a high, medium, or low risk by thinking about these problems in a multi-dimensional aspect. So I'm blowing up this example, should we design for early admission as well? The strength would be it's appealing to a broader audience who would benefit from the product. Opportunity, it would increase the popularity and effectiveness of our app. Weakness, early admission students may be type A and want to divide and like make their own Excel spreadsheets. They might not have a use for it. And the threats would be a more nuanced design. It would require more time, which we frankly just didn't have on this project. Demonstration. I'm going to allot 2 minutes for you, Alex, and Ian and Emily to do this, or less, where you'll go do your demo maybe to perform your magic here. Again, it's really important to have those tables. Like I think the tabular, just showing a comparison, that's going to really blow this slide out of the water and make it seem, obsolete would be great, because that's kind of the whole point. And then concluding. Why is concluding important? I took this from the textbook. Learning leads to better organized knowledge, which leads to changed behavior and improved performance. We can improve through time. Some of the closing points. What did we achieve? We created a website. Students can look at multiple majors and their respective prerequisites, which was the biggest thing we wanted to do. The takeaways was design iterations are important. It's a lot harder to design than we initially thought. Leverage subject matter experts often, which is kind of built off that point. Team communication is also huge. Nothing will get done, even if you have the best idea, if you can't communicate amongst your team. Future directions, this also encompasses stakeholder desired features. Possible extension on the UW My Plan. This would require much more robust, lots of debugging to be done before we could actually ship it out, but that would be a cool way to kind of really give it legs. Transition to a website more robust than RShiny. We used RShiny because it was convenient, but nothing takes the place of actually building out the website yourself. These are some of the features they wanted. Actively mark completed courses, percentage of how many classes. So we showed you, but these are pseudo features. They're not actually built out yet. And then mobile compatibility would be nice as well. And here's our closing document. I didn't feel like forging a signature from Michael, so I put stakeholder name and signature in its place. And this would really be the signing off on our 6-week project. I hope you guys enjoyed it and thought it was useful, and we really appreciate your time.